Why do I consider myself to be a German? I consider myself to be a German because what is now known as Slovenia, but really is Krajina, and it was officially until very First World War, upon which Austro-Hungarian Empire have fallen apart, and we were separated away from our mother state, Austria, or with in other words, from German nations, of which part we were, over 1,400 years, meaning the first people who have inhabited the area now known as Slovenia, or what really is Krajina, basically were nothing but real Germans. The first Germans who have come to Europe were people who have inhabited this part of the Europe, which is also visible from the maps. Yes, language is changing, and the way things are going, it's going to go more and more toward Moscow, I think, or Belgrade, I should say. The linguists are doing just about everything to have language turn more and more toward Slavic languages, and basically, as I mentioned earlier, replace us with immigrants from south. The linguists call themselves Slavists, the people who develop the languages, in other words. Slavist is extreme, racistic way to basically work toward genocide, as you're not even linguist, the language developer, but you're Slavist, Slav, Slavist, Slavic. It is the grand communist Slavic idea to wipe us out, simultaneously developing the language and pushing us out of the borders. We don't even have the right to minority status anymore in our own country. Not even that. German minority status is not permitted, it's not allowed in what is now known as Slovenia. The country itself was not remained into anything else but Slovenia, which is completely not related to our people, as I mentioned earlier. It resembles Slovakia, Slavonia, Slavs, the number of names to which we are really not related to, and on the biggest disgrace, the flag was changed into a Russian flag. We are the only nation in the world, all through completely non-related to, but we do have the same flag as Russia have it, the same flag. Now, as I entered the kindergarten at age 5, and then ever since, or till I was about 16 years old, a severe physical violence have taken place against me. This violence was part of my daily routine, and it was instructed against me on behalf of teachers or system alone. The kids which have confronted me were in packs of 5 or more, and on average 2 to 3 years older than myself. System have actually deliberately failed kids, forced them to repeat class once, twice, and primary have them entering or allowing them to enter the school, the educational system alone, year or two after or over other kids' average entrance age. So they have created this groups of kids, which then they have used in order to perform violence against other kids. That's how that was done. Exclusions from future prosperities, severe exposures to mental elements such as isolations of one from other coevals, what is better known as ostracizing, scorn, and humiliations in front of groups have taken place on a daily basis as well. Beatings of the teachers alone were present as well. And the last, not the last, but very important, the hate spree, or teaching of hatred against other kids or kids who were non-natives. This was one of the most important elements of the educational system through which I have gone through. It was the element that basically gave so-called Yugoslav bastard system a good grounds, or I should say excuse, for persecution at a later stage in life. Yes, you see, system have used selection process throughout life already since childhood, yeah, in order to sort each and every one of us in certain groups or future developments. In my case, or in system governed by communists or pro-Yugoslav autoritarians, hatred toward non-natives would mean only perfect grounds for excuse what system prepared for later periods in life against me. Excuse for a genocide against me. Of course, because hatred against those who are actually sponsored and protected by system alone is useless. Those so-called minorities or non-native kids cannot be endangered at all, as you have learned from previous statements. Hundred thousands of our people were basically life buried and expelled out of the countries. So how could they be the one threatened in reality? Yet, by inciting hatred in one, you have actually set the perfect grounds for persecutions and excusing yourself like, yeah, the whole system is a victim and the small person is the one that is endangering entire society, entire system. That's how that works. In my case, this bastard system act against natives or majority population on behalf of foreign authorities such as Belgrade and communism, as we know. Now, bastard systems are present as well in other societies worldwide, of which one of them is taking place today, for example, as well in the United States, and that's exactly against white people. Bastard system basically represents implementation of governmental authority, interests over certain country, land, state, area, and it acts against expectations of native population or majority population, meaning against natural elements of that area. Against expectations of native population which greatly differ from ideologies as obtruded, because that's what it is. Ideologies obtruded, imposed, most often by foreign environments or appetites, ideas or interests, if you like. Sadly enough, those bastard obtrusions or imposements are most often of violent grounds. That's especially when issues such as race or ethnicity take place. High, big issues, unlike some small unimportant matters. These ethnic cleansings are of a fundamentalistic nature, well precalculated operations behind which major world operations perform. The fundamentalistic nature itself means to go according to the rule and should differ as least as possible from the ideals of one. And therefore they are actually really particularly violent when the ethnic, cleansing, when you try to replace people with another groups of people. When that takes place, the more they are actually fundamentalistic, the more they are effective, actually. That's how that works.